In this week's episode, the group return to Zephyra, we learn some big news about Ashton, and FCG flirts with a sword.
Were you always a sword?
Don't romance the sword. Don't romance the sword. No.
I mean, you're metal and I'm metal.
Well, I mean, if you're asking.
Pierce me.
Hello, my name is Luna, and I'm here to catch you up on everything that happens in Critical Role, including all of the details you may have missed, so let's get into it. Party settle in for a long rest, and Chetney attunes to the Butcher's Bib, which they picked up from the Trove of Marwa back in Dressar in episode 22. As a refresher of what this truly awful and disgusting item is, it is a black leather apron that is constantly dripping with blood and increases the chance of a critical attack and allows for a reroll of damage dice. Chetney is already unhinged enough. I feel like he does not need an item that is just like trailing blood everywhere he goes. I don't know. I guess maybe it does fit in with his vibe. But later on, like, they go and see Keyleth and he's just like dripping blood everywhere. Nobody says anything. FCG then examines the sword that Chetney picked up last episode, which is called Graz-Tuchar, the Luminary Blade, and it contains the soul of an old, wise, dead king.
I fear that what took me also took from me my memories.
Oh no.
All I have now is knowledge of the darker shadows that creep across this land, and a wish to prevent others from falling to what I once fell to.
That's what we want too. That's exactly what we want.
But, as I discussed last week, this is an illusion. This is actually the Decadent End, a cursed sword that the Demon Prince of Indulgence speaks through. Graz-Tuchar tells the group that he has forgotten a lot of his memories and that he wants to be wielded for justice and good. Yeah, alright, buddy. Ashton is generally mistrustful, so FCG casts legend lore on the blade to learn more about it.
Those who wield this blade carry behind it a powerful will. The radiance is a curtain. Behind it, that which is burned away.
The radiance is a curtain. That which has burned?
That which behind is burned away.
The light is false.
It's evil.
The blade does corrode. The metal, that of the prince's will.
Prince's will?
Prince.
Like, oh my god, he's
The
demon prince, the demon prince.
Yeah. FCG shares what he learned, but Graz-Tuchar says, "Oh, you're feeling the effects of the demons. That like has nothing to do with me. I'm a good sword, I promise." And the rest of the group go along with Chetney using it. I think mainly because they all know how much fun this is going to be for the story.
And if it goes bad, we can just get rid of it.
Like we don't know what the fuck is gonna happen.
What could possibly go wrong?
Something interesting that Graz-Tuchar says is that he is aware of lewdness. He said that lewdness passed through and he was like a powerful individual that he doesn't trust. I wonder if this is actually true, like the Demon Prince is aware of lewdness, or if the sword has just picked up from their conversations that the party don't like lewdness and he's just trying to ingratiate himself to the group. As they fall asleep, Imogen has another dream in the Red Storm on Ruidus and sees the city,
revealing hundreds of domiciles, carved and built into the red rock. Their shapes round at the corners, organically inspired in architecture, and hundreds of humanoid shapes, just dark shadows through the storm, all walking through the multi-tiered streets that weave through. As you stand there, all of them stop at once, and all in unison, shift to you, and all their eyes glow with a purple light at once as they all perceive you.
Imogen feels a yearning to join Predathos and she hears her mother saying, "Run, I won't let it have you." And with a nat 20 wisdom save, Imogen manages to pull away and fly up above the clouds of Ruidus, looking upon Exandria in the sky, joined by the red beam of the Malleus Key. She can see the land of Ruidus now and sees that not only is there a city, but there is other life, fauna and flora, a whole ecosystem. A projection of Imogen's mother arrives behind her, and she again says she just wants to protect Imogen. Imogen asks Liliana if she was the one who teleported them all away, but Liliana says no, like she doesn't think so, leaving us still with the mystery of what happened in those whiteouts. I mean, if we look at this from a metagame perspective, the whiteouts serve to A, get Bell's Hells out of an unwinnable situation in the fight against Odahan, and B, to split the party, allowing Marisha to train for Creator Clash. But I'm looking forward to seeing the narrative explanation for these moments, like, in-game. I still wonder if Imogen is at the center of it, perhaps being the Ruidusborn of a Ruidusborn has given her these sort of OP abilities. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Let me know in the comments. Imogen again implores Liliana to stop working with lewdness, and she replies,
Why don't you tell me what's happening?
I need him as much as he needs me. I must be careful, for he is older and more cunning than most. The seeds we bear still pull us. I will find a way to end this one way or another.
Are you setting him free? Predathos? Is it gonna really destroy the gods?
You deserve to be free.
Imogen takes this conversation to mean that her mother is a lost cause, that she is all in on Lewdness's plan, but I actually saw it in a different way. The way Liliana said, the seeds we bear still pull us, has to refer to the seed of Predathos within Ruidusborn, and she then says, I will end this one way or another. I wonder if she wants to go back on the plan, but destroying Predathos is in some way going to harm or maybe even destroy Ruidusborn, including Imogen, so she would rather Predathos be free and the gods dead and Imogen safe than not. I mean, I don't know, this could absolutely be me having like false hope that Liliana is going to come over to Belzhel's side, and like, I do want to be clear that I still think she's a bad person who has done really awful things, including abandoning her daughter, but I still see the potential for Liliana to turn on Lewdness in the future, which could be, like, a fun, dramatic moment. During the long rest, FCG casts Commune with the Changebringer, asking 3 questions. Number 1, can the gods help my friends? She replies, yes. Number 2, are you worth saving? She replies, of course. A very different answer to the one that Deanna got when she asked the Dawnfather this question. And finally, number 3 is, are you scared? And she replies, yes. This strengthens FCG's resolve to help the gods and to help the Changebringer. In the morning, Travis rolls to see if Chetney dies in his sleep, because he's got this thing that if he rolls double zeros, then Chetney's just gonna die.
Roll to die?
Trip zeros, I think. Right, that's 100.
Well, yeah, it's a 0-0 on the one dice and then 0 on the other.
This.
I love it.
It's the closest.
Whoa!
Yeah.
What was it?
It's okay.
What was it?
We're good. We're good.
It was close.
We're good.
And Orem says to Bernie that he wants to go and visit Derek and Will at some point, and oh my gosh, my heart is not ready for that scene when it happens. They get back to Zephyr using both the portable hull to carry a few people and Imogen's teleportation staff.
Back to you, Keelan.
Zephyr, go ahead and...
Now sports.
Bernie reunites with Leader, and the group hand over the blue flowers to be turned into an ointment to heal Keyleth. One of the people working on that ointment is Orem's mother-in-law, Nell.
I wish it was better circumstances, but it's good to see you.
These are great circumstances. From what they tell me, you may have a way to heal the voice. You've done so much. And she kneels down and kind of cups your hand. My boy, you've done so much.
Hanging in.
Aren't we all? I need to get to work.
Do your job.
We'll talk later.
Okay.
They then take the ointment to Keyleth and rub it into her wounds. With the help of it, she's able to magically heal herself.
Stronger and stronger. Eventually she sits up. Pulls back the sheet, and you can see one of the large gashes on her leg. They apply the balm, and she's not even paying attention to it as they do, but she reaches back and takes her crown, kind of brushes her hair back, and sets it upon her brow. She puts her hand in front of herself, glances out to the long window. The curtains open out towards the beautiful cityscape of Zephyr. She mutters beneath her breath as the wind in the room begins to pick up, and you watch as her whole body glows a bright green, and all the remaining wounds vanish in but a moment.
Yay! Marisha's reaction in that moment was so cute! Keyleth steps out on the balcony, addressing the people of Zephyr below, giving them hope and cause for celebration, with Orem and the other heroes of this little adventure standing beside her.
Hearts and minds. Always Ashari. Home and abroad. Morning and night. Kaiteake.
Kaitiake, kaitiake. As it shouts through the crowd.
I don't know if we'll ever get a Belzhel's animated series, but I really hope we get to see that scene. The party takes some time to talk with Keyleth, and she shares that Lewdness has recently met with King Dwendal in the Dwendalian Empire. We spent a lot of time in this region in Campaign 2, and King Dwendal has been bedridden for many years, with a lot of power and sway moving to the Cerberus Assembly, which is the group of mages that Lewdness is the head of. Keyleth mentions that there is some dissent within the Cerberus Assembly, which, makes sense. We saw a lot of the political manipulation and infighting that can occur among the Cerberus mages, and I'm sure that there are plenty who wouldn't be happy about Lewdness trying to, get all the power for himself. And, you know, hopefully there is at least a couple of them who are, like, actually decent people. The Dwendalian Empire was only just in a war with its neighbor, the Kryn dynasty, and it sounds like civil unrest could be on their horizon. Oram also finally tells Keyleth about the vision they had of Vax.
Lewdness has him in some sort of prison? And, we could hear him. In pain.
Her eyes dart off to the window. And you just make out with your perceptive view what you thought was a small tree that's grown on the balcony, but now you can see it's a perch. It's empty.
I really hope they're going to be able to help Vax at some point and that he and Keyleth might get, like, a moment together or just something. Keyleth, just, like, throw her a bone. The conversation turns to the civilization on the moon, and Imogen shows Keyleth one of the Rylora by summoning one with her spell, Summon Crimson Shade. And this time it is more manifested than before, with, like, a material form and the ability to communicate with her. And it tells her a few things. Firstly, that it has lived on its Ruidus its whole life, that it hasn't seen anyone like her before, and that...
Its head looks out the window. And in your mind, you see verdant fields. You see lakes of cool water. You see clouds. You see mountains. You see joy. You see love. You see these flashes of beautiful vistas, of abundance, of laughter. We know your dreams.
You haven't had that. I'm sorry.
Ooh, they'll like me.
Should you ask him about Predathos?
Yeah,
Anything
yeah,
about
yeah.
Predathos?
Who is Predathos?
Predathos is the progenitor.
The progenitor?
It is the heart of our world. And it stirs. You feel it too.
Predathos is the progenitor and it is stirring. Now, progenitor means a person or thing from which a person, animal, or plant is descended or originates, an ancestor or parent. So I think the Rylora could have been created or dreamed up by Predathos and then founded this whole civilization. Although I do have another theory that I'm going to talk about in a moment. Imogen thinks that the Rylora are resentful that they're trapped on the moon and able to look into the dreams of Exandrians who live on this beautiful world. Which kind of makes me feel sad because it does sound like they have their whole sort of like they have their own ecology there and stuff, and the fact that they're sort of pining after Exandria, like, surely there's got to be cool stuff on the moon, but I guess, you know, the grass is always greener on the other planet. The group wonder if the Rylora were the people who lived on Exandria and were taken up onto the moon and have evolved into their current form over generations. This is a theory that I've held for a long time. I think that the Rylorans were originally the Tishtan, a nomadic people who built the architecture found at the Malleus Key dig site, and they mysteriously disappeared at some point. Perhaps when we get to the moon, we'll get some more answers about the origins of the Rylorans. Ashton asks Keyleth what she knows about the Hashari, confiding that his parents were the leaders, and she takes Ashton's hand and begins to focus on them, and the glass portion of their heads begins to spark, and...
You carry a power I cannot recognize, and a power I can but seldom feel. Your blood carries elemental power, but not that of the normal Earthkin and Genasi in general. You carry a fragment of primordial elemental capability within you.
Wait, what?
What?
The best way I can describe it is you are Titan of blood.
Oh, Titan blood!
Don't do that shit on your neck!
Titan nobility?
Ashton, a Titan of blood.
Titan of blood.
Oh my
What does
god.
that mean?
Yes! Finally, we are getting some Ashton lore, baby! I was so frustrated when we were in Isilra and they didn't pursue any of Ashton's story, so I'm just, like, incredibly excited that Matt has managed to, like, find another way to do that. There's also this interesting moment when Ashton says,
And then when this happened, everything got even stranger.
I'm uncertain if those two get along yet.
I think by saying those two, Keyleth is referring to both the Luxon portion of Ashton's mind and the primordial blood within his body. Is this merely saying that there is so much going on in Ashton's body that those two elements are not like gelling, or does it say something more about the relationship between the Luxon and the primordials? The Luxon is still a very mysterious entity. The Crin's creation story tells that before the gods arrived to Exandria, the Luxon, which was a sort of lonely wandering star, sparked life in the planet which began to turn and churn, and from this chaos arose the primordials. The life that was created fought, and so the Luxon wished for it to learn in a cycle of renewal, and it turned itself into beacons which would allow souls bound to it to be recaptured and reincarnated with all the memories of their previous life to learn from. How much of this story is like in-world fact and how much is in-world myth is not clear. We do know for certain that these beacons allow for reincarnation of souls, as we met several characters in Campaign 2 who had undergone that process, but we still don't know much else about the Luxon. One theory that I have is that the Luxon beacons are artifacts of one of the devoured gods of Predathos, which is why there's no consciousness associated with the Luxon, because that consciousness has been eaten. I'm really hoping that we're going to learn more about the Luxon as part of Ashton's backstory, because it's something that has just always fascinated me since Campaign 2. And anyway, back to Ashton. I wonder if this battle between these two forces inside his body, you know, the Luxon and the primordial, or the Titan blood, is what is causing his chronic pain. They're fighting over his body and it hurts. Poor Ashton. This whole stuff with Ashton feels like one of the juiciest bits of lore we've gotten in a while, and I would love to hear your thoughts and theories about it in the comments, because yeah, it was very, very exciting to me. Keyleth says that the only way the Hashari could have done what they have done to Ashton is with a powerful artifact, and that it might have something to do with the story that Ashton's father was telling about Avantravir, the Tree of Atrophy, an ancient tree spirit whose roots watch over the cycle of renewal between life and death. Supposedly, this tree is located in...
Its home, however, is on the island of Kalutha, in the mists of the Shattered Teeth.
Island of what? Say it again.
Island of Kalutha? Right? Is that what you said?
Kalutha.
Have we ever heard of the Shattered Teeth before?
The Shattered Teeth.
The Shattered Teeth! I'm so excited by this development! So as Keyleth explains to the group, the Shattered Teeth is all that remains of the continent Dominus, which was destroyed and broken into fragments, islands, by the events that kicked off the Calamity on Avalier and Cathmoira, events that we saw play out in EXU Calamity.
If Dominus is the smile of Exandria, then let's shatter her teeth.
I've just been so excited for them to visit this location ever since that series, because I feel like there's just got to be some good Age of Arcanum shit there. Like, I would love to know if there are any remnants at all of Avalier there, any like cool Age of Arcanum tech. And rumor has it that the islands move, so you know there's got to be some like funky stuff going on. Maybe there's like some broomstone shenanigans, I don't know. Keyleth goes on to say that Avantravir was supposedly a Galdrashari once, which makes sense, as the Galdrashari lived in Cathmoira, the city that was destroyed in EXU Calamity, and that this Galdrashari returned to the land similar to the way Omadua did, who was in the Emerald Crystal in the cave where Bordor died. The group wonder if there are followers of the Galdrashari or the Primordials at the Shattered Teeth, and if they could be allies, but it's hard to know how they would feel about this whole situation, given that the Prime Deities worked to destroy the Primordials because they were working with the Betrayer Gods during the Schism. Keyleth knows someone in the Shattered Teeth called Jirana who helped her with her grief following the events of Campaign 1, and she says she could send them there through a tree teleport. They decide that they are going to pursue this lead at the Shattered Teeth because while they feel like there isn't much time, they really need to grow in strength, aka level up, before going back to Ground Zero. The group then show lewdness's harness to Keyleth and explain its function, and Imogen asks if they could repair it and use it to draw power from something, which honestly does not make me feel good. I really hope they don't use it to siphon power from like a fey creature or anything. Like, I don't know, I felt kind of icky that they made fixing this item, which seems pretty bad to me, like a priority. I don't know. They consider tracking down Devexian to get him to repair it, and FCG scries on him, seeing him somewhere on the Menagerie coast. Ultimately though, FCG says that Devexian is probably not a good person to ask since he's not the one who fixed FCG. FCG really wants to ask Dancer since Dancer is apparently the one who fixed him, but the rest of the group are kind of skeptical. FCG scries on her but isn't sure where she is since she's indoors somewhere, just kind of like asleep on a couch. So with the group unable to decide who they should ask to fix it, FCG casts divination and asks the Changebringer.
But the wind seems to almost carry the faint elements of a voice to your mind. The path with one from your past. you're most bound to.
Oh,
The path from one from my past, I am most bound to.
That's D.
That's D.
Is it or is it dancer?
This doesn't really give them much clarity, and they continue to argue about whether FCG is most bound to Devexian or Dancer, so FCG casts Divination again.
The path to the mind of that which gave you life. Renewed.
Oh, that was clear.
Did it again!
No, that was clear. That's clear.
feels
That's
like
D.
it was-
That's D.
That's dancer!
He won't
I don't know. It might be Dancer.
No, D was second life.
They still continue to argue, so FCG casts it for a third time.
Yeah, I guess.
Hey, is it dancer?
hold decorum out the window.
Just fucking tell me, is it dancer? Forget about D, just is it dancer? Yes or no?
Yeah, cast it again.
Yeah, cast it again.
That was the third one.
I've used 5 high-level slots.
I hope we get into a fight later.
Ask again later. Answer.
The road you seek will guide you to the one. His name begins with a D. It's a cumulative 25% each time you cast it past the first in one day, that you just get a random reading. Yep.
We go to D. We go to D.
We go to D.
Yeah, kid.
This felt like payback for all the shit the group gave Matt last week. They ultimately decide to try and find Devexian if the opportunity arises, if they bamf to the Menagerie Coast. I guess we'll see if that ever pans out or not. Aurum apologizes to Keyleth for their very chaotic and slapdash planning session, and she replies,
Hey, I'm not judging. I've walked around with a bunch of slapdicks for a big part of my early life.
Who you calling slapdick?
Not you.
I'll tell you a story about a goldfish one day.
Really?
Everything eventually becomes funny.
This is, of course, referencing the infamous moment where Keyleth jumped off a cliff and turned into a goldfish. Keyleth gives them all a pep talk, especially Aurum, and she gives him a new title.
Aurum of the Arashari, you are a paragon in the memory of dear Derek and his son, your partner, Will. You are a heart buffeted by the winds of change and the cold of reality, yet you continue to move forward. You are hope. You are Aurum, my friend. You are Aurum, savior blade of the Tempest. And you are never alone.
I'm wondering, I thought maybe he was going to get a new feat or something to go with this. Maybe we'll see that next week. The group go to join the celebrations in Zephyra, and that is where the episode ends. This was such an exciting episode for lore! I absolutely loved it. It feels like it's been ages since we've had a big lore drop. Let me know what you thought of the episode and what you think is going to happen next week. Ashton also mentioned, Taliesin also mentioned that there might be some costume descriptions next episode, so hopefully we will see some new character art. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure that you like and subscribe, and if you're a Dimension 20 fan, you should check out this new series that I just started discussing Mentopolis right here.